Hi, family. This is Charlotte, Pastor Caldwell. I wanted to just stop in and talk to you about the fourth turning. This is a topic that the mystics, the tarot card readers, and those here on the YouTube channel, many channels that report on such things as this. And I listened and I started to go read on this fourth turning because I believe we are either in the third, through the third part, going into the fourth part of what is called the fourth turning. Now, this is a concept from the Strauss Howe. These are the two writers of a book that talk about the fourth turning. And it talks about it's a generational theory, which proposes that history moves in recurring cycles, which last roughly 80 to 100 years. So this is an 80 to 100-year cycle and is divided into four distinct eras called turnings, hence fourth turning. Each turning lasts 20 to 25 years and represents a different mood, a mood or a phase in society. You know, my grandmama used to always say, oh, she just going through a phase. I used to be like, what's a phase? Now I get it. I'm sure you do too as well. Now, the thing is, let me see if I can turn my computer so you can see this just a little bit better. I'm gonna make this bigger here so I can see it as well. There we go. Turn it that way because I want you to see this. So the first turning is a high time. And that's generally where you get your profits. So I'm going to say, you think about the prophetic words of Dr. King and some of those during their era, Marcus Garvey, and all of these profound speakers, and even politicians. That prophetic time comes through kind of comfort. Now, I will say in my lifetime, the nomad, we've seen that more people in the last 30 years, 25 to 30 years, they're either living in their RV or they've converted their cars in a way that they can live in their cars. So many, there's a young lady I follow and she's the like nomadic introvert. And she has been all over the country, quit her job, everything. So many people are doing that. They'll sell their home, they'll buy an RV, or they'll get a very nice SUV and, you know, have it fitted and finished for them to live in. So much so that even Walmart, from what I understand from the nomadic people in our country, Walmart and some other places, they allow them, as long as you notify the manager, they stay in the parking lot. So when you drive by a Walmart and you see RVs and all those different things, or cars with all the windows blacked out, that's what they're doing. So that nomadic cycle has been in play for a long, long time. The hero generation, the unraveling. See, I think the unraveling started in 2008. What happened, Charlotte, Pastor Caldwell, in 2008? Barack Obama was elected as president. Let me say this because I don't want to get in any trouble on my channel. This is for entertainment purposes only. This is just my opinion, how I see things from my pastoral experience. I believe that was the hero generation, and that comes forward in the unraveling. And we saw that unraveling happening because what happened? You got the Boston Tea Party that came out and just acted a plumb fool. No one checked them. No one checked them for their hateful and racist rhetoric. And that's what it was. So now we find ourselves in a crisis, especially since Tabitha Speaks Politics. I got a notification and she reported that they passed the big ugly bill. And we know the suffering. I know the people that I worship with, how fearful they are of this bill. My mother is in a nursing home, so she needs constant care. So this thing they talk about, you know, we don't believe in, you know, unaliving yourself. Yeah, I bet that'll become popular as long as it's the people they want to get rid of. Mm-hmm. So we are in, I believe, that unraveling and crisis. I believe from 2008 until maybe 2016, 2020. Yeah, that unraveling, we're getting to crisis. Because see, it was a crisis on January 6th of 2020 when we had people go in and do the things they did to the Capitol. But everyone's trying to get along or reach across the aisles. Sometimes, like my grandmother says, people don't hear you, they need to feel you. And that's how these people felt. And they came and they made us feel them, but we were unwilling to say, guess what? You got our attention. Let's talk. Nope, there was none of that. We just let the courts and people just do whatever. Some people went to jail, but then the crisis came. This is the big crisis. On January 20th, 2025, everyone was pardoned. And no one said a mumbling word. You got some people say, well, this is wrong and this is that. See, I think the unraveling part is coming to the end, and we are definitely in a crisis. And the crisis is where we will get artists. I want you to see there are different type of people. So we have the prophet, the nomad, the hero, and the artist. So the hero, Barack Obama was a type of hero for people. But now I will say Black people suffered more than anyone under the first African-American president. 2008, we had a major financial crisis. He came in trying to pick up the pieces, fix things, but not always for the African-American community that always get hit the hardest and the worst by anything that's going on in the country. You know how I know? We lost everything. Didn't matter what type of programs they had. There was a decision made. We're not going to help these people who have owned their home for 20 years. We're not going to help these people whose company told her husband, if this man is reelected, you will be laid off. And they laid my husband off. 401k gone. Job gone. Yeah. Hero. And my husband is a hero because we got out there. And when I say we tried to make things work, we rented a little small house. We were working and we were saving every penny and believing, as people of faith, believing there is a God. There's not just a government. There's a God who is sovereign. So as we get into the crisis, you will see the generation of artists that will be born. I think even how music and things are portrayed, yeah, it's going to change. Because the fourth turning, I firmly believe we've been through 3 of them, and we are in the midst. Well, I didn't want to turn it that far. We are in the midst of finishing the unraveling and going to the crisis. So let me unpack thoroughly. So the first turning is a period of strong institutions and collective confidence marked by unity and optimism. Example, post-World War II. That's your example. The second turning, remember I said we've been through the first turning, the prophet. The second turning, a time of spiritual upheaval and questioning of established norms with rising individualism and weakening institutions. Example, the counterculture and civil rights movement of the 1960s and the 1980s. The counterculture. The third turning, an era of growing individualism, weakening institutions, which they are being weakened. Come with me. These brothers were not far off with their point of view concerning these phases of societal norms and growing and recessing and growing. So weakening institutions and cultural fragmentation. You know, African descended people, we've always cared about everyone. I don't know if I would have ever thought we were so disconnected from people of color, and that people of color thought the things that we now know they think about us. For example, it was reported, Tabitha Speaks Politics, and some others, that we were considered to be immigrants and that we would be deported. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. It's interesting because I thought, and I don't want to sound like one of those people, but I've known some Puerto Rican brothers and sisters my whole life, not as many Mexicans. I'm not sure if I did not work with a Cuban brother once, but I never surmised or gleamed from them that way of thinking toward me at all. And as a matter of fact, I thought they had respect for me, but I do know my one friend, she messaged me on election night 2024, and she said, I have made a big mistake, a grave error. And I was like, wait a minute, girl, you did not. No, you did not. All I got was, I am so ashamed. We haven't spoken since, which is probably good. So the fourth turning. So, I want to give you an example of the third turning. The culture wars and economic disparities from the 80s to the 2000s. So they're calling that how that felt and the way society was. Because I will tell you what, the mortgage companies and things, a lot of people got help, but my husband and I could not figure out for the life of us why our home of 20 years, we had to surrender. And it was given, and I'm just going to tell it like it is. This is for entertainment purposes only. And this is Charlotte Pastor Caldwell's point of view. Our home of 20 years was given to a Caucasian family at a drop in the bucket of what it was worth. And before they could get to 20, 21, 22, they had sold it in every last bit of that equity that belonged to my family. They got it. All of the hard work we did. It was, and people kept telling me, go here, do that. We did everything we could do. And then we did what we do best as a people. We pulled it together. And we said, this is what we're going to have to do. We rented a very small house that we could afford. We pinched pennies and we pinched pennies. But I'll tell you right now, good luck getting my husband to put his money back into a 401k. They can say what they want to say. It has to be guaranteed. He lost everything. After all those years of knowing, what he would do is when he would get a raise, instead of getting the raise, he would put it into his 401k. We're thinking retirement, all of those things. Yeah. So the fourth turning, the crisis, and this is where I think I am. You guys may think differently. Just let me know in the comments if you think differently. The fourth turning, a period of upheaval and transformation, often involving war. We don't want war, but we see it happening and we see people trying to ramp it up. Revolution, a major institutional crisis, which we are going to have. You cannot have the type of debt ceilings these crazy people put on our country and think the people are going to pay for all that when they can't get anything when they're sick. They can't get anything when they're hungry. They can't get anything when they're elderly. Where are you going to get it from? You're stepping on the very people that give you the money to do the things that you're doing. Major institutional crisis. Institutions are rebuilt and society reorients around new values, which we got to have, but individualism recedes. That means we are going to become communal, and we have to become communal. It doesn't matter your religion, how you practice, your ethnicity, what country. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we're all human beings and we're here to work in community for the benefit of the whole community. It's not this thing that we've had for most of my life, where only the people at the top, and you become like the Syro-Phoenician woman. They're like the trickle down. Well, that means, guess what? When Jesus said, well, it's not good for me to give what is due the children to the dogs, she said to Jesus, well, even the dogs get the crumbs. So what have we been the whole time? Just the dogs that get the crumbs? Really? Is that what the country thinks of the people? We're just the dogs that get the crumbs? This is seen as a time of danger and opportunity, leading to a new societal order. We're gonna have to have a new societal order. This cannot sustain and remain. Here in America, other countries that I've never lived in, I don't understand. I don't think so in Israel either, because my dear friend, Dr. Mark Ellis, we had a memorial service for him this past Sunday. And there are many, many in the Jewish community that understand this goes against everything they are taught in Torah, in the law. It goes what they are doing. They have a great spiritual responsibility. If indeed they were supposed to be a blessing to the whole world, where it at? And he was one of the people that spoke out against it, and it cost him so much, but well respected and loved brother, but greatly mistreated by his own community because he dared to look at his community and say, what you're doing is wrong. And it is in direct violation of the law, of the Tanakh, of Torah, of Navaim, and of Ketuvim. It was in direct opposition. To whom much is given, much is required. And that's what he was telling his people. One of the things about this, according to Strauss and Howe, the United States is currently in a fourth turning characterized by political, economic, and cultural crisis. This period is marked by collective efforts to address existential threats, often resulting in stronger institutions and a renewed sense of shared purpose, but also significant turmoil and uncertainty. Historically, previous fourth turnings in the U.S. included the American Revolution, the Civil War, and the Great Depression, World War II era. Each was a time of profound crisis that ultimately reshaped society and set the stage for a new cycle. You know, there's a song we should sing all the time, Lord, we set the stage for you to do what you want to do. We have set the stage for the people to be heard in unison, collectively. Because what was passed today as far as a bill, it excludes no one when it comes to the suffering. What they're taking from the Veterans Department, what they're taking from Medicaid, what they're taking from food benefits. If we'll be able to get food and get it to people, you know, it just is a horrible thing. But I will say this again, this is for entertainment purposes only. And this is Charlotte Pastor Caldwell's opinion. The only way to undo every last bit of this is to call a thing a thing. Illegitimate presidency. 2024 needs a redo. Jimmy Carter said it of the 2016 election. We have an illegitimate president. That is the only way to undo what has been done. But this is the thing. Some things that have been demolished, they will not come back. They will be unable to put them back together. But our government is going to have to call a thing a thing. Because currently, with all the trampling of the Constitution, is there an institution to protect? We're building prisons that have a moat around them with alligators. Yeah, we're in a crisis. We're wanting to arrest and take Americans to countries they've never been to, languages they've never spoken, and they're citizens. Just randomly take them off the street. One of the sisters that I follow on YouTube, she said today, you need to start keeping your papers with you. Do you know how far back that takes Black people? That you got to have your paperwork. The fourth turning. So like I said, the theory suggests that after the fourth turning concludes, typically after 20 to 25 years, a new first turning begins, starting the new cycle. So it's It's an 80 to 100-year cycle that people constantly go through. And I've heard about this, and I had to go over and read up on it. You too can go to Perplexity and look up fourth turning. I think I'm going to get the audio and listen to it. But that's my 2 cents on it. To bring us into this crisis exactly the way we need to be, there will have to be some truth telling. There's no way around it. We're going to have to tell the truth about what we've allowed in our country. We've allowed jobs to sit there and hire more Caucasian people than Black people, Asian people, Latino people. That's what we've done. But see, there has to be a balance. We've allowed white privilege. You got to just tell the truth about it. We've allowed and thought this trickle down stuff was good when you're basically calling everyone else the dogs who get the crumbs from off the table. That's what we've done. And spiritually, it's ugly. There's a text that says sin is a reproach to any people. And America, you're looking real ugly and shabby, not because of how we're being treated by another country, but how we're treating each other. I see all type of things on the channels here. People who just want to enjoy their RV, someone vandalizes it because they don't think a Black person should be living the nomadic life in such a nice RV. Really? If you get a chance, Google or go to Perplexity and look up the fourth turning. Again, I may do a second post on this. I'm going to get the audio book and listen to it, but it is very descriptive in explaining what we're going through. I think we're at crisis, but I'd like to know what you think as well. This is Charlotte Pastor Caldwell. I will see you the next time. And hopefully you guys will let me know what you think, or I'll search and see if any of you decide to put up posts telling what you think of this fourth turning societal theory.